Okay, Braves. So a lot of you need some help with your quarter one makeup project. I say this because I've had several submissions and I've gone through and graded them, and a lot of them haven't even achieved a 25%. And a lot of it is because the quarter one project is being treated like just a worksheet and you're trying to get through it. A lot of students are trying to get through it as fast as possible. And while I understand the desire to get your grade pulled up as quick as possible, if you don't do things correctly, you're not going to bring up your grade. And because this is a makeup project, um, I'm expecting you to do a better job on this than you would normally for your work had you have done the quarter one project. So my standards for the makeup project are actually higher than my standards for the original quarter one project. That is because you failed to take the responsibility to do what you needed to do when you needed to do it. And the original project was very easy. Just go out and take some photos of the things that we talked about in class. Now it's more difficult because, well, you have to go and search for this information. And because you can search for it, I expect it to be correct. I expect it to be accurate. And as such, that's more difficult because it's a lot more difficult to go out into nature and look at a tree and correctly identify that tree. It's a lot easier to simply type in trees of the Amazon rainforest, see what comes up, and then immediately have the species name right off the bat, right? So I am being more of a stickler. I'm being more strict on the way I'm grading the makeup project because you have all the information you need available to you. You don't have to go out and discover it for yourself. So that being said, a lot of you are having a hard time meeting that standard because you've gotten by the last several months doing things quickly and turning it in. And normally in a normal school year, that's not going to fly. And for this project, that's also not going to fly. So if you want to bring your grade up, awesome. I'm here to help you. And that's precisely what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to go through and give you several examples of each part of this project, and I'm going to show you how I found them. So this screencast is intended to be informative. First off, where do you find the project? Well, if you go to classwork on Google Classroom and you scroll down to week 8, you will find the quarter one makeup project. Okay? And that project, by the way, I have instructions in here. Do not copy and paste anything for the project, stuff like that. Make sure you read this, okay? And I even go through this on the video in slide 3 here, so I'm not going to go over that now. Let's just go on ahead and get into it. So the first part of this project is matched up with your first field investigation. I ask very similar questions that I asked you in the original first field investigation, where you were going out and taking a soil sample. Obviously, you can't go to the Amazon rainforest and take a soil sample, so I had to change some things. But by and large, the information is the same. So what do we do first? Well, let's get familiar with the ecosystem, the Amazon rainforest. Let's figure out what it is, where it's at. That's what we're doing here on this slide. So where is the Amazon rainforest located? Well, if you go to Google, you can figure that out. You can also go to maps to figure that out. So that's what I'm going to do here. Going to go down to my maps. And you can see I was already using this before. If I type in Amazon rainforest, it will pop me up at a location in the rainforest. This doesn't help me if I'm trying to figure out where the Amazon rainforest is located. So how about I start zooming out? And if I zoom out and I continue, oh, there's Iquitos. It's a city in the Amazon. They actually have an airport there. As I continue to zoom out, you can see this big dark green thing here is the Amazon rainforest. Now, a lot of you said the Amazon rainforest is in Brazil. No, Brazil is in the Amazon rainforest. So that's not where it's located. That's like saying the United States is in Kansas. That's not true. The Amazon rainforest is in South America, and it's in the northern part of South America. This entire thing is the Amazon rainforest. Now, if you compare that to the size of, say, America, you can see, North America, the Amazon rainforest here would take up a big, giant chunk of the United States. So this thing is huge, which is why saying Brazil or Colombia is not correct. So it's in South America. That's where it's at, the northern part of South America. So that's what I would write down. It is in the northern or northwestern part of South America. Boom. How big is the rainforest? Well, let's go look that up. Now, if we go to Google, and I'll go ahead and redo this, size of Amazon rainforest over time. And here's why I'm going to do that, because the next question here is how big it was in 1950. So whatever I find by typing this up over time, and I misspelled that, thanks Sticky Key, I'm going to get a chart that probably is up to date to how big it is today, and then how big it was to the other answer that I'm looking for. So in this instance, you can go on ahead and just use Wikipedia. It's fine. We'll scroll down here, and you'll notice here's a chart with sizes of the Amazon rainforest and square kilometers. So that's what we're going to look or use. So how big is it? Well, as of 2019, it was 3,298,551 square kilometers. So that's our answer for how big it is today, because they obviously haven't done the numbers for 2020 yet. So how big it is, boom, kilometers squared, boom. All right, square kilometers. How big was it in 1950? So when I originally did this, I meant to put 1970, but you can still find this information. And how do you find that information? Well, you go here where it says pre-1970. That's the best information we got. So pre-1970, before 1970, it was about this big, 4,100,000 square kilometers. So that's what I would put down, 4,100,000 kilometers squared. Boom. That's how I find that answer. What geographical features are a part of the ecosystem? So this one, you can simply go up here, and again, geography of Amazon rainforest. And you will find information about the different types of things that are in there. So you do have a large drainage basin. That's what the Amazon River is a part of. The Amazon River is a geographical feature. The Andes Mountains is a geographical feature. The Guiana Highlands are a geographical feature. The Central Brazilian Plateau. These are things that you're looking for. You can keep looking, obviously, because that's not an exclusive list. So you want to be looking for those types of things, what's in there, mountains, rivers, plateaus, drainage basins, all of those things. And this is how you kind of find the information. You do have to kind of search around a bit, pop in and out of websites, and try and get the info you need. Okay, so as you can see, I went through probably about 6 to 10 different websites to be able to find that answer. I had to grab different bits of information from different websites and piece together something. Now, you notice this is not a complete sentence, this is just a list. So what I would do to make this answer correct and usable is I would type it up like this. Some of the many geographical features of the Amazon are its thousands of rivers, the Andes Mountains, the Guianan and the Brazilian highlands, and the Amazon River Basin, among other things. And now I have a complete sentence. Now I have an actual answer. And this is what I am looking for, actual complete sentences and answers. And notice this is filling the space up, so I come up here, bring down the font size, so now I can fit more stuff here. Okay, so this is how you go about doing that. Now, human structures. You're going to have to look up the different things that are in the Amazon rainforest. I will tell you right now, there are gold mines in the Amazon rainforest. There are full-on cities, modern cities with roads and cars and all sorts of stuff in the middle of the forest, as well as on the outside of the forest. There are small villages and dwelling structures that are made of different materials from the Amazon for different, peoples that live there. So there's a lot of different structures, human structures in the Amazon rainforest, and you want to go out and find them. Basically going about the way I did here. Your Amazon rainforest Google map photo. Remember, I went to maps earlier. I pull this up. Do not give me a photo like this. This doesn't do anyone any good. This is just a green space. This is what I'm asking for your Google map photo. I want to be able to see the Amazon rainforest and where it's at. So like where it's located on the globe. So you can see that now. It's right here. So I would take a screenshot. Boink, just like that. And then I would come in here and drop it in. All right, just like that, it's been like, I don't know, 5 minutes. I've got most of this filled out. And this is a fairly information-heavy slide. So, didn't take that long. Got that one done. I'll let you guys finish this one yourselves. Now, photo of locations. Do not give me countries. I don't want countries. Give me actual locations inside of the rainforest. Well, how would you do that? You can type in points of interest, Amazon rainforest. See what comes up. Places of interest in the blah, 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 blah. All right. Manao Biosphere Reserve, Madidi National Park. These are things that are there. Monkey Island. That is in the Amazon rainforest. So I would come in here and type in Monkey Island. And then I would go Monkey Island, Amazon rainforest. And I go to images, see if there's something there. Nope, don't see a photo of the place. Oh, here we go. Monkey Island. So this must be a resort here at Monkey Island. I could use that photo if I wanted to and add that in. How about I save that? Yay. It's in Peru. Monkey Island in Peru. Aha! Now we have exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. So I would grab this photo here of the map and add it in if I wanted to. And I can add that in there. Or if I don't like this one, voila. Monkey Island, right there. And fill that bad boy in. Just like that. All right. So now I would do the same thing for 2 other spots. I can type in national parks and Amazon rainforest. It will give me a bunch of national parks. That's what I'm looking for. Don't give me Brazil and Ecuador and all of that. Yeah, great. It's a whole country. That's not very specific. Give me something very specific, like an actual location, a place inside of the rainforest. Okay, so that's that section. Then we go into your soil in the Amazon, you actually have to read this article, okay? And when you read this article, it talks about nutrient cycling and the soil composition in the Amazon rainforest. It talks about how the soil in the Amazon rainforest is very poor. It's not very good soil. It's bad soil. It's not good for growing stuff. However, because there are so many decomposers, as soon as something dies, it's immediately broken down and reused by nature, which is why the Amazon rainforest is able to support so much life, even though it has bad soil. And what we find out is if you go to the Amazon rainforest and you cut all those trees down and try and use it for farming stuff, growing things, it works for a little while, but it pretty much your farm fields and stuff, your plants stop growing very well after 2 or 3 years. There's just not that much stuff in the soil itself, and because you no longer have those decomposers out there recycling the dead matter, well, then your soil just degrades and it's not worth anything. So the reason the Amazon rainforest works so well, despite the fact that it has poor soil, is because of its decomposers and how quickly life goes and reuses stuff. So what is the soil like? Well, it's very poor soil. So you would actually go in here, and what you want to do is use examples from the reading. So I'm going to read this out loud. Understanding the basic composition of forest soils helps explain the concept of nutrient cycling in the rainforest, why there are problems with clearing rainforest lands and all that stuff. Okay. Going through here. It is red, yellow, light clay soils, which are acidic and low in nutrients. Old and impoverished, Amazon basin, no volcanic activity to bring in new nutrients, bada bada bing. So this whole paragraph here is talking about how poor the Amazon soil is. So for an answer, I would come in here and I would say the Amazonian soil is very poor in nutrients. It lacks things like phosphorus, nitrogen. Let's go back and look. What else? Iron and aluminum. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Potassium, calcium, magnesium. It's very poor. Is very poor in nutrients. Amazonian soil is. Why is that happening? Do I have 2 text boxes here? A clay-rich soil that is very poor in nutrients. There we go. Now look, I just put 2 sentences there, and that's how and that's a solid answer. If all I did was say it lacks nutrients like phosphorus, nitrogen, potassium, calcium, magnesium, that might be true, but it's not a complete answer. I want you to show me you have a better understanding than just being able to go grab a few snippets. So basically, you're taking this paragraph and you're condensing it down to 2 sentences. That's what I'm looking for, okay? Other questions. How is the Amazon rainforest able to support so much life with such poor soil? I kind of talked about that already. But in here, if you go down here, it talks about nutrient cycling. You need to make sure an example about nutrient cycling is here, and you need to make sure it is in 2 sentences minimum. So you actually have to explain that answer there, okay? How are nutrient cycles different in temperate forests versus Amazonian rainforests? Okay, I'm pretty sure that is also in here. So somewhere in here it talks about European forests and how healthy the soil is versus the soil here in, here you go, early European, it's right here. This is where you find that answer. So question number 3, the answer is right there. All right, you've got to condense that information and formulate it in your own words, but the answer is in there. Okay? And then explain the phrase life feeds on life. Well, if you're thinking about nutrient cycles, it should tell you everything you need to know. Even if you're a plant, you're feeding on living things or things that were once alive. So explain that somehow. All right. Then you need a picture of Amazonian soil versus a photo of healthy soil. So if I go to the internet, remember, I just read an article that told me that the Amazon rainforest soil is yellowish and reddish clay, and it's poor in nutrients and organic matter. So if I go find a photo that's a dark black soil that's rich in organic matter, that is not Amazonian soil. Okay? So Amazon rainforest soil. And I go to images. And what you will see right away, this is an example of what Amazonian soil looks like. This is a mining pit. This is better. So what you have here is called terra preta. This is a soil created by the Amazonians. They do this. This is natural Amazonian soil. So you want to find a photo that looks like that, because that's what the Amazonian soil looks like. What does healthy soil look like? The terra preta right next to it. But again, that's what the natives have learned to do in order to create a healthy soil so they can grow their own plants where they want to grow them. And this was an ancient technique that was used by the Mayans and others that lived in the area. So this is not what Amazonian soil normally looks like. This is what Amazonian soil looks like. So make sure you have a photo that matches that. Okay, moving on. Main source of water in the Amazon rainforest. It's a rainforest. Rainforest. Why do we call it a rainforest? That should be an easy question. Now, the other thing to mention about this is the other main source of water, other than the rainforest itself, is the Amazon River and all of its thousands of rivers, which are called tributaries, that feed into it. Okay, but the main source of water in the Amazon rainforest is rain. The plants breathe it out. How does the Amazon create its own rain? Well, one of these two links here tells you that. It explains how the Amazon makes its own rain. You need to do more than just say leaves let water out of them and it rains. Like, explain the process, okay? What role does the Amazon River play for the ecosystem? Well, look, to help the Amazon river matter to all of us, interview Michael Golding. I posted this because it gives you some concrete examples of why the Amazon River is important to the ecosystem and what happens if it's no longer there. Here's a way to kind of look at this as you're reading. If it's telling you what would happen to the rainforest if the river wasn't there anymore or it continues to be damaged, that tells you why or how the river is important, right? So go through here and look and see what it says. Well, if the river continues to be damaged or something happens to the river, this is what will happen to the forest. That clues you in on how it impacts the ecosystem. Okay? All right. This also tells you that in the article I was just on, what would happen to the river if it continues to be damaged. Again, that's all right here. Okay? So make sure you're taking examples out of there and make sure you're giving me at least 2 sentence answers for each of these. I'm looking for examples in detail, okay? All right, moving on. How does sunlight vary in the Amazon rainforest? Well, if you're a tall tree, you get a lot of sunlight and you get it all day long, 12 hours a day, every day, and it doesn't really change. If you are a plant on the bottom of the rainforest, it varies greatly. You basically get no sunlight. Get less than 2% of what the big trees are getting, okay? So you want to explain that and answer. Why are some plants in the Amazon adapted for low light conditions? That has to do with what I just said here. The trees are getting sunlight, but the other things, well, maybe not. So you need to explain that down here. How How does being located near the equator affect the amount and intensity of sunlight received by the plants in the Amazon? Okay, this one is a little more difficult. If you look at equator sunlight, see what comes up. When you are looking at this and trying to figure out, well, why the light intensity is so strong at the equator, you want to kind of get an idea or look at some of the science behind Earth, its rotation and its tilt, and what it means to be at the equator. The equator does not have seasons. It doesn't have fall. It doesn't have winter. It doesn't have spring. It generally has a rainy season and it has a dry season. But it basically has 12 hours of sunlight all year long, whereas we up here in the northern part of the planet, well, we have like 18 hours of sunlight in the summertime and like 10 or 9 hours of sunlight in the wintertime. And that has to do with the angle that we are tilted in our rotation and then revolution around the sun. So your answer here needs to talk about that. So we're talking about a planetary model here, not just, you know, well, whatever, some of the weird answers I've gotten there. So that's how you answer that question. There's videos on this online that walk you through how the equator works and its relationship to the sun and Earth's tilt. Okay, what challenges does lack of sunlight present for forest plants in the Amazon? How do plants make food? They use sunlight to make energy out of water and carbon dioxide. They make sugar with it. That's how they make their food. If they don't get sunlight, they can't make food, right? So that is one of the issues and one of the challenges that a lack of sunlight presents. There, I just gave you that answer. All right. Air quality. Being a rainforest, what is the humidity like in the Amazon? Don't tell me it's high humidity. High humidity, high is a relative term. It's in relation to other things. Give me a number. So watch this. I will go up here. Average humidity, Amazon rainforest, 88%. Okay, so the dry season it's 77%. So the average humidity, so the answer here, the average humidity in the Amazon rainforest is between 77 and 88%. That's how you answer these questions. You're giving me real numbers. What problems does the amount of humidity and moisture present for plants in the Amazon rainforest? Okay. Plant adaptations, humidity, Amazon rainforest. This is one of the things that it has developed, and you want to look at why. Why? Well, look, plants need to shed water to avoid growth of fungus and bacteria in warm, wet, tropical rainforest. So when you have high humidity, bacteria and fungi grow, and they don't want that because that makes them sick. So that's the problem. And then what adaptations have they developed to survive that? One thing is drip tips, but that's only one thing. You need to find the other things it's done to develop or has developed, you know, for that. So I gave you one answer, and really I gave you two answers here. Okay, moving on. How is human activity affecting the air quality? I have that right there. And oh, by the way, for adaptations, I posted that link in here that goes through the different adaptations it has. Okay, so you know, use some of this stuff and explain it. That's how you fill that out. Close some of these links out. Ba-da-ba-doom. All right. Last one for this section. So this is a longer video for one section, but I want to make sure you guys know how to go about doing all this. What is the temperature like in the Amazon rainforest? Well, check this out. When you click on this link here that I gave you, it talks about the weather there, and it gives you some averages. And what I'm looking for is like an average temperature. So, you know, give me an average temperature of what the rainforest is like. If you have to calculate an average, go for it. But if you look, temperature in Fahrenheit, you know, it's 90.7 degrees in January. It gets as low as 88. So the average temperature is like 89. I can do that in my head. So it's generally about 89 degrees in the Amazon rainforest. Give me an actual number. Why does the temperature stay so constant year-round? Go back to the answer that has to do with why it has sunlight 12 hours a day. It goes back to this one about being near the equator. Okay, that's how you answer this question right here. It has to do with that. Plants in the Amazon have thin bark and leaves year-round. How are these adaptations for the temperature of the Amazon? Why wouldn't they survive in Kansas? Okay, go outside and look at a tree here in Kansas. It has thick bark. Its leaves fall in the fall, right? And then it has no leaves during the wintertime. So how would that make it unable to survive here in Kansas? If you have a tree that has leaves year-round and has very thin bark, what about Kansas would kill it? What about these adaptations make them not suitable for Kansas? That's what I'm trying to get you guys to get to. Why do those adaptations work so well in the Amazon? This is how you're supposed to be answering these questions. So go into a full explanation. This last question should be about a paragraph because it's two sentences for this one and 2 sentences for that one. All right? Okay. So that is the first part of your makeup project. Hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully this helps you get this stuff done correctly so you can get the best grade possible, because that's what we're all about, right? Learning and getting good grades. All right. I'm done with this weird video. See you later.